Some of the heaviest things we carry can't be seen. Not in our hands, not on our backs, but somewhere deeper, in the way we walk into a room, in the way we hold our breath when someone raises their voice, in the way we lower our eyes when we're praised. Childhood shame is one of those hidden burdens. It doesn't always shout. It doesn't always look like pain, but it lingers. And if we don't name it, we end up mistaking it for who we are. You might have lived a long, full life. You might have children of your own, even grandchildren. You've survived losses, heartbreaks, and change. But that doesn't mean the child you once were no longer lives inside you. That child, who once felt overlooked, unheard, misunderstood, still hopes someone will tell them they were never the problem. This is for that child and for the adult you've become, because it's never too late to understand where the ache comes from and to offer yourself the compassion you always deserved. Sign 1. You apologize for simply existing. You say sorry all the time. When someone bumps into you, you say sorry. When you share an idea, you immediately downplay it. When you feel hurt, you apologize for feeling anything at all. This reflex to apologize isn't just about politeness. It's about something older. For many of us, this started when we were young. Maybe you were told you were too loud, too sensitive, too needy, or maybe no one told you that, but they showed it in the way they ignored your tears, in the way your presence felt like an inconvenience. So you learned to make yourself smaller. You learned to say sorry before anyone could be upset. And now, decades later, you're still apologizing. Not for something you did, but for who you are. But here's the truth. You were never too much. You were never the burden. And you don't have to apologize for existing. Your presence is not a problem to solve. It's a gift, always has been. Sign 2. You struggle to accept compliments. Someone looks at you with warmth and says, "You're so thoughtful. You have such a calming presence. You've made a real difference." And your instinct to wave it off, to say, "Oh no, not really," or "It was nothing." Why is that? Because when shame sets in early, we learn to distrust the good. We learn that if someone sees beauty or strength in us, we must have tricked them. Or worse, that it's only a matter of time before they take it back. For some, childhood meant conditional love. Praise came only when you earned it, when you performed, succeeded, or stayed quiet. So now, compliments feel like a language you never learned to understand. But maybe it's time to start learning, to breathe in the kindness others offer, to let it land, not because you're perfect, but because you're human and you're worthy of being seen. Sign 3. You feel responsible for other people's emotions. Someone's upset and your heart starts racing. You feel like you did something wrong, even if you didn't. You rush to fix it, to make them feel better, to take the blame just to keep the peace. Where did that begin? Often it begins in a home where emotional storms were unpredictable, where you had to grow up too soon, where love came with moods you had to tiptoe around. You became the helper, the caretaker, the one who managed everyone else's pain, but never your own. But you were a child, and it wasn't your job to be the adult in the room. And even now, it's not your turn to carry everyone's emotional weight. You can care deeply and still set boundaries. You can be loving and still protect your own peace. You are not the fixer of everything, and you never had to be. Sign 4. You fear being truly known. You might have a lot of people in your life, people who know your habits, your stories, your favorite songs, but do they know you? Do they know your fears, your dreams, your hurts, or have you built a wall, a quiet one, between you and them? Shame builds that wall, because at some point the real you was rejected, or ignored or misunderstood. And the lesson that stuck was hide who you really are and you'll be safer. But hiding isn't safe, it's lonely. And the kind of connection your heart longs for requires you to be seen. Not the version of you that's always okay, but the real you. The you that gets scared. The you that hopes for more. The you that just wants to be accepted without conditions. You are not too much. Your truth is not too heavy. Let yourself be known because you are worthy of love that doesn't flinch when it sees all of you. Sign 5, you dismiss your own pain. You tell yourself others had it worse. That was a long time ago. It wasn't that bad. But inside, something still aches, and that ache is real. Minimizing your pain doesn't make you strong, it makes you silent. And silence keeps wounds from healing. So many of us were taught that our pain wasn't valid. Maybe you were told to stop crying, to toughen up. Maybe you learned that talking about it made you weak or selfish. But pain doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. It waits. It waits for us to stop and say, yes, that happened, and it hurt. Your pain is worthy of attention. Your memories matter, and it's okay to feel it all. Grief, confusion, even anger. Those feelings are not wrong, they are honest, and honesty is the beginning of healing. Sign 6, you chase perfection to earn love. You work tirelessly, you hold yourself to impossible standards. Mistakes haunt you. Failure feels personal. Why? Because somewhere along the line, you learned that being loved meant being flawless, that being accepted meant never falling short, that love had to be earned again and again. But real love, the kind that sees you, stays with you, holds you in your weakest moment, that kind of love doesn't require perfection. You don't have to do everything right to be worthy. You don't have to be impressive to be lovable. You can exhale. You can let go of the pressure. You can be messy, human, and still entirely deserving of love. Sign 7, you still hear the critic in your head. There's a voice that speaks before you even realize it. You are not good enough. You always mess things up. You're too old to change. And even though you try to silence it, some days it feels louder than the truth. That voice, it didn't start with you. It came from somewhere, someone long ago, a parent, a teacher, a world that didn't protect your spirit. But that voice isn't the truth. You have the power now to talk back, to rewrite the story, to say, no, I am not broken. I am still growing. I am still worthy. Your inner child doesn't need more criticism. They need kindness. They need someone to believe in them, and that someone can be you. Finally, the gentle path home. If these signs spoke to something tender inside you, let me say this first. You are not alone. What you feel isn't weakness. It's not a failure of character. It's the echo of a younger version of you who had to survive in a world that didn't always know how to love you well. So many of us carry shame not because we are bad, but because as children, we were never taught how to separate what happened to us from who we are. We absorb silence, harsh words, unmet needs, and somehow we made it mean that we weren't enough, that we had to earn love. Hide our pain, be perfect to be safe, and maybe for decades we did exactly that. We stayed busy, strong, helpful, quiet. But inside, the child we once were never stopped hoping someone would see them. Not the version we learned to present to the world, but the real us, the one who just wanted to be accepted, not fixed, loved, not measured. Healing doesn't mean pretending it never hurt. It means looking at those old wounds with gentleness and saying, you didn't deserve that. You did the best you could. You are not broken. It's never too late to rewrite the story. Never too late to go back, not to dwell in the past, but to retrieve the parts of yourself you had to abandon just to survive. The parts that are soft, emotional, imaginative, open-hearted. Because here's the truth. You were never too sensitive. You were never a mistake. You were never unworthy of love. You simply grew up carrying pain that no child should have to carry alone. But you are not that child anymore. You are older now, wiser, stronger, and now you get to be the one who says to that child, I'm here. I see you. I will never leave you behind again. So if your heart is heavy with shame, I invite you to begin releasing it slowly, gently. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to rush. You just need to start by believing that healing is possible. Because it is. Peace is not only for the young, it's for anyone brave enough to lay their shame down and walk toward love. You deserve that kind of peace. You always have, and it's not too late to come home to yourself. If this spoke to you, I'd love for you to be part of this growing community. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. This space is for healing, for reflection, for real connection. Thank you for being here.